How's everybody doing? My name is Matt Ganem. I'm a grateful recovering heroin addict. On April 21st, I celebrated 14 years in recovery. But not just a man in recovery, I'm also a father. I got a handsome 12-year-old son, a beautiful 7-year-old baby girl. I'm a poet, an author. I put a book out in 2012 called The Shadow of an Addict. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about my story and some of the ups and downs, and hopefully inspire some of you guys to not go down the same path that I went on. But to start it off, I'm going to share a poem with you guys. Impatiently waiting until the smoke clears, tightrope walking between insanity and serenity. I wonder if I can find hope here before the rope tears the last thread of my misery. I can't escape the fog. The hands of fear grab hold of me, choking me, expose the broken me of what I was supposed to be. A wrong turn at the fork in the road, now I can't turn back. Where the door of opportunity closes, should I make my own path? I knew I shouldn't have sold that. A trip away from this foolish paradise to a place where angels with clipped wings make guitar strings sing into the afterlife. For my soul, the devil wants to know what's the asking price. My fall from grace is quicker than slipping on black ice. Still searching for solid ground, spiraling and falling down. Is really my calling now? Does it still make my heart pound? Standing on stage, staring out at the crowd. But it's nothing but empty seats. Do I do it for them or do I do it for me? Do I do it for inner peace or do I do it to be free? Just breathe. Because I want to take your breath away. Well, I welcome y'all to my palace of shame and introduce y'all to my marriage to pain. Carrying the shadow that I battled to change. And the war was ugly. I rose from the ashes of a junkie. Used to load up in the bathrooms of donkeys. Now I'm getting high at the crowds in front of me. Like the applause of fix only fit for a druggie. So I take a hit at the people screaming they love me. And for that one shining moment, these dark skies become sunny. I forget about the nights I was alone, roaming the streets with no place to go, no place to call home, raising a broken child of my own, and you wonder why I got stoned. Chemicals numbing my sharp senses. How many nights is it park benches? A story that's heart-wrenching where I start venting. The ghosts of my past coming back for vengeance. Syringes saying use me and you won't end up back behind barbed wire fences, but I'm against this. So I pull a piece of paper out and let my pen bleed for you to remember me. Even if my physical presence is deceased, the essence of my being will never leave. Inside these words, please cherish me, for my soul to be set free is more than just a memory. So that was a little taste of, one of my biggest therapeutic tools and something that I've done since I was a kid. I struggle with communicating. It was always easier for me to put my thoughts, feelings, and experiences down on a piece of paper. And, ultimately, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story, going back to I was a 12-year-old kid, and I was riddled with fear. I was riddled with this struggle of being accepted. One of the biggest things that I struggle with is the circle of friends that I was around. Whatever they were doing, I was doing. So, like, when we were playing basketball all night, I was playing basketball. When we were playing baseball, we were playing baseball. Football, same thing. And then, unfortunately, I started going down a darker path. And, we were walking to school one day. I was 12 years old. A friend of mine stole a pack of cigarettes from his mom. And one by one, he handed the cigarette to each person in our group. And this unspoken peer pressure that I felt like if I didn't do this, they would make fun of me. They wouldn't want to hang out with me. And I didn't have the courage to say no. I just wanted to be a part of this group. So one by one, we each sparked up that cigarette and coughing our lungs out, thinking we were cool kids. And unfortunately, that right there followed me for the rest of my life. That peer pressure, influenced by my friends, it followed me from smoking cigarettes to the next it was alcohol. Then it was weed, some other drugs. Eventually, after getting kicked out of 2 high schools my freshman year, I was 16 years old and I was introduced to this thing called Oxycontin. Now, at the time, we didn't know that this painkiller that a doctor prescribed, that I got my education from friends where they were like, hey man, this is gonna make you feel better. This is gonna give you this good feeling. I had no idea that trying that pill, eventually the path would lead me down to being a homeless IV heroin addict. That I would be in and out of jail, in and out of programs, that I would absolutely step over my friends, my family, anything to get my next fix. And, we were at a party. Again, it was influenced by friends where I was handed this pill and they were like, try it. And unfortunately, I didn't I didn't have the courage to say no, and I did it. And at first it was something that made me feel good, and the people around me were all doing it, so it was socially acceptable. It didn't seem like it was a problem. Everything in my life was still pretty normal for the chaos that I was living in. But it progressed. It progressed to something that I was doing every single day. It started out as like a Friday, Saturday thing. Then all of a sudden, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was obsessing over it. And eventually, it was every day. It was every day that the only thing that I cared about, not school, not my mother, not my sister, not my father, the only thing I cared about was how I was going to get money and how I was going to get, this fix. And, I ended up getting kicked out of a third high school because I was a classy kid. I had opportunities to play baseball. I used to throw low 90s. Started varsity basketball. Threw all that away my senior year. I ended up getting kicked out of my third high school. Had to go to a fourth one. Any aspirations to go to college went out the window. Everything that I did revolved around like partying, getting high, and that's what all my friends did, and that's all I cared about. And, it was a pretty sad existence when, where I sit now looking back at it, thinking like this image that I had, this reputation that I tried to carry, ultimately I was trying to cover up all these different things that I was going through. At the time my mother was raising me. She was a single mom and trying to take care of my little sister, and I was really rebellious. She had thrown me out of the house. I was 16 years old on the streets, bouncing from couch to couch, crashing in my friends' basements. It really wasn't the lifestyle that you picture when you're that age. And, somehow, some way, by a miracle, I ended up graduating high school. And, but unfortunately, the only thing I focused on, it wasn't a career. It wasn't like, getting educated. It was, what am I going to do to get high every day? And, consequences started coming into play. I'm getting high every day. I'm doing drugs. I'm selling, and, I end up getting arrested, and now I'm getting bounced on probation. I'm getting handcuffed. Doing things that when I was growing up, I never pictured being a criminal. I never pictured sitting in a cell where my freedom was stripped of me. And, eventually the Oxycontin, I just couldn't do. I couldn't afford it anymore, and I progressed to heroin. And, it was the same thing. Somebody ended up, when you're doing oxys, when you're doing other drugs, even before you do drugs, when you think of the word heroin, it's this like disgusting, filthy word. And you picture the guy holding the 7-Eleven door open. You never picture it being me. Like, I never looked at it that I would ever become a heroin addict. And that stigma was kind of attached. But when you're sick, and that's what happens when you do Percocets, painkillers, and you become dependent, you become dope sick. And ultimately, when I couldn't afford a pill, somebody presented this bag of heroin to me, and all those, the stigma attached to it, the dirty filthiness of that word went out the window because I was told it was going to make me feel better. And, I tried it, and ultimately I was off and running with that. The consequences started getting worse. I was in and out of detoxes because, I was still in denial that I even had a problem, because I just couldn't admit that I was a drug addict. I couldn't admit that I had a problem with pills, or that I had a problem with heroin. I always looked at everybody else like, oh, I'm not as bad as you. Oh, I would never do that. I will never sink to that level. And ultimately, in the end, I completely stripped my morals and everything that I cared about, because I would step over my own friends and family just to get my next fix. And, it's just a really sad existence. And, I'm very fortunate that I hit rock bottom. I was faced with some jail time. I had no friends. My family wouldn't pick up the phone anymore. And, this moment of clarity hit me that I knew if I kept on this path that I was going to end up dead. I was 21 years old, and I decided that, I wanted to take my life back. And, looking back at 14 years, like, it's an amazing journey that I've been on, and I'm extremely blessed. It's been filled with ups and downs and struggles and triumphs. And, I'm just really blessed that I was given a chance, because a lot of my friends haven't had that opportunity. And that's one of the reasons that I'm here, is that you guys don't have to go down that path. Like, I encourage everybody out there, like, be a leader, not a follower. Have the courage to walk away and say no. Have the courage when somebody tries to present you something that you don't want to do, that you can say, nah, I'm all set. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go down that road. I don't even want to open that door. And unfortunately, when I was your age, I didn't have that courage. And I wasn't a leader. I was a follower. And I followed the path right to jails, right to programs, and to homelessness, and to a drug addiction. And that does not have to be your story. And I really hope that everybody out there that's listening to this video, they understand that small choices when you're young, like you have the power to affect your future. And I remember when I was in your seat, sitting in the back of the auditorium when they would bring in speakers, and I would laugh at the person that was up there like, oh, it's never going to be me, or, you know, saying whatever about them that wasn't in a positive light. And, you know, years later, here I am standing in front of crowds, doing videos like this, trying to inspire kids to choose a different path, to have the courage to say, I'm not going to get high. I don't have to drink. I don't have to go down that road, because it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. And, you know, but for anybody that knows somebody who's struggling, you know, there is some hope. And I hope you can get, you know, if you know anybody that is struggling, friend, family, brother, sister, mother, father, that they can get better. You know, I was extremely blessed that I was able to turn my life around. I have a handsome 12-year-old son that I hope you guys, you know, lead the way for the future for my kids. You know, that you guys make it cool that you don't have to drink or do drugs. So then when my son Christian and my daughter Peyton are growing up, that they get influenced by the people that are watching this video now, that took the stand and said, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to try this. And I'm going to show that it's not cool to do drugs, and that it's not cool to drink, because that's the reality of it. You know, it's just not, it's not worth it. College goes out the window. You know, everybody out there that loves their family, like, you know, love can't, it's just a pathway that you really don't want to go down. And you know, it's really not worth it. But, you know, over the years, I've been extremely blessed. I go around the country performing poetry. I hit you with a poem in the beginning. I'm going to hit you with a poem to close it out. But, you know, I get to try to inspire people to do better. I get to help, you know, people that struggle with substance abuse, and hopefully inspire them to see the light and find a different path in life to get off drugs and really achieve their potential. I get to try to inspire kids not to use, and you know, try to use my voice for something positive. You know, I want to leave behind a positive legacy when this life is over. And you know, it's an extreme honor. I try to give you guys like a very fast version of my story. You know, ultimately, the basis of it is don't try it that first time. Don't drink or do drugs. Don't follow the crowd. You know, take a stand and be yourself, where you don't have to mask how you feel or what you're going through with substances. You know, it's been an honor to try to share some of that with you, but my time is running a little short, so I want to hit you guys with one more poem. I hope you enjoy it. If you like the first one, or if you're interested in any of my poetry, you can look me up, Matt Ganem, the poet, on Facebook, on YouTube. But this is a poem called I Am. I'm the surface of a sleepless ocean, the cold depths of frozen emotion. I'm a piece of a heart broken, floating inside a love that was stolen. I'm written poetry spoken. I'm a fresh page with a mind full of things to say, reminiscing on yesterday's best days to get the stress away. Even if I was depressed today, I'm that feeling inside when you look your lover in the eyes that no other person alive could provide. I'm the sun setting on a crimson sky. I'm trapped inside these speakers, turning naysayers into believers. When the poem gets deeper, I'm the teacher, abusing the fact that I have the platform to reach you. I'm lost in the wind, a breeze that would never come across you again. Brought up in Boston, boxed in the problems of coming up from the bottom where rise is the only option. I'm the beautiful ugly, a recovering junkie, making barely enough money to keep a roof over me and my son that loves me, and I refuse to let him go hungry because my past has come back to crush me. I'm that first breath of freedom. Breathe in the 1,000 reasons, leaving a cell block of demons screaming freedom like you just left work for the weekend. Only the work week lasted for 5 years. Borrowed time will make you see clear as you watch your youth disappear. You learn the truth when you're in there. Only your true friends will be there when you breathe free air. I'm the rebirth of Pop Poe and Shakespeare. I'm the rose that grew from concrete, the dump beneath the street where Romeo and Juliet would meet. I'm the madness created from the telltale heartbeat. I'm Achilles at war, but my pen is my sword. Using the allure of everything I went through before as a metaphor that you don't have to struggle anymore. I'm that morning light. After making it through a night that might have taken your life when there was nothing but darkness in sight, but you found the strength to fight because the sun shines bright. Once you believe, everything will be all right. I'm the last words that a poet writes. I'm the skies telling the story of my past that remind me of what I'll see when I'm looking back. Similes didn't have an impact on half of that, so I literally mapped out the path from where I was at. I'm chaos finding serenity, the point beyond infinity, taking what's given to me so I can build from within my city. I even pray for my enemies, because once upon a time they were a friend of me, regardless if they see it differently. I'm trying to make history. I'm a legend. Or so I've been told by my friends that made it to heaven. As a penman, I'm the extension of their resurrection, redemption. For anyone abusing prescription medicine whose progression led them to heroin, let that settle in. I'm the voice of a generation, raising my voice to the nation. Inspiration for every addict getting high in the basement, a kid trying to get clean as a detox patient, that they can say, I am one of the ones that made it. I'm hope for those that lost it, still carrying pieces of broken dreams in their pocket, who think happiness is found in material objects. I'm street knowledge. I'm passion, pleasure, and pain. I'm lightning, thunder, and rain. And what my mother made on the first day of May. I'm a heroin addict that changed, but couldn't wash away the stains that covered my veins. I'm Matthew Ganem, and you will remember the name. Thank you, everybody out there. Be a leader, not a follower. Achieve your potential. Say no to drugs. Hope everybody has a great day. Thank you.